Hello guys, so welcome to my channel. So in continuation to my previous video, let's proceed with the next chapter. In my previous video I had covered about till chapter 10, so I will start with chapter 11. So chapter 11 is shipboard systems. So in shipboard system, the new thing which has been added is volatile organic compound recovery system. So this is a thing which is added newly. Now earlier we had vapor emission control system. So here we have the new thing is added is volatile organic compound recovery system. So it's they have just mentioned this paragraph they have added in SGOT 6, where they say that VOCs are normally vented to the atmosphere unless a VOC recovery system is used to recover them. So this system is based on active or passive technology. So they have given this flowchart where they clearly explain that VOC recovery method, passive and active methods. So you can refer to the SGOT 6 to get further knowledge. Next is chapter 12, that is shipboard operations. In shipboard operations they have expanded from 11.1.6.6, that is this closed loading in SGOT 5. Now they have made a separate section for risk of overfilling. So this section is expanded newly and it has been made new. So let us see what is risk of overfilling. So loading a cargo tank under normal closed condition comes with a risk of overfilling. So that is why now they SGOT 6 says that there should be 2 alarm points should be fitted. So one is 95% capacity, that is high level, and 98% is high level. So this is what mostly it says about risk of overfilling. Then next is blending operations. As you can see here that blending operations and doping and adding additives is also been added. So these two sections is here, blending operations. So blending is prohibited as per SOLAS chapter 6 regulation 5 of 2. So it prohibits the physical blending of bulk liquid cargoes during a sea voyage. So that is what it says. But they also say that this does not prevent the master from undertaking a cargo transfer for the safety of the ship or protection of marine environment in an emergency. So this is what they say. And then blending operation in ports should be planned to ensure they comply with applicable MARPOL regulations and local port regulations. So it's a very simple term. They have explained that where you can use blending operation and where you cannot carry out blending operation. In port you can carry out, in sea voyage you cannot carry out, and whenever you are carrying out in port, you have to comply with MARPOL and local requirements, and risk assessment should be done. So that is what it says. Next is doping and additives. So doping is when cargoes are treated with small quantities of specialized additives and fluids such as dyes, liquid marker. So if you have sailed in an oil tanker, so you would have seen that this is what is doping. So this section also they have added new in SGOT 6, and they have given a guidance on how to use, what risk assessment, what should you do about when you do doping. So it is recommended that you go through this for getting proper knowledge. Now for doping they have also added this flow chart in SGOT 6, agreement on doping, type of cargo, additive, etc., method of doping, mixing ratio. So this is the cargo doping flow chart. So you can refer that in SGOT 6. So this is new thing. Then is the same chapter 12. The next is benzene and mercury section and the cargoes containing mercury, and loading heated products, cold oil cargoes, and loading cold oil cargoes. So these all sections have been added newly in SGOT 6. So this benzene and mercury, so cargoes containing benzene, they have given a guidance on what to do, what not to do. Similarly for loading heated products, cold oil cargoes, etc. And this is loading cold oil cargoes. So this is also added. And next is in the same chapter they have added a section called as intact and damaged stability. So they have added a new section. So it's a small section. So you can see here that complying with intact stability may not meet the damaged stability criteria. So this should be verified for the departure condition of the ship. So that is what SGOT 6 says, that it should be verified that both the criteria meet before departure of the ship. So other than that, in chapter 12 cargo tank monitoring system, then transfer guide, personal transfer, and LNG fueled ship alongside. So all these sections have been added newly in chapter 12. So I will show you, I cannot show you everything, but I will show you some of the important things. Like, let's say like this transfer guide. So this transfer guide, this is a section paragraph they have added in the ISGOT 6. So it says that STS transfers alongside a berth, which is also known as double banking, may include CMOPS. So proper risk assessment should be done, then all the local authorities approval should be taken, CMOPS consideration, then all operations should be use of lightering advisors should be given, like that, communication. So it's all about it's a guidance of how to carry out the STS transfer. Then personal transfer, it should be between two ships, should be kept to an absolute minimum. So if a transferring is being considered, risk assessment. Now risk assessment they have almost added in many of the sections, almost like all sections they have added risk assessment should be done. So this is about personal transfer, they have added new section. Then chapter 13 they have added sample disposal and sample storage. It is added new. Then linseed and other oils, and forecastle spaces and midship stores. This is basically chapter 13 is carrying and storing of hazardous material. So they tell us about how you should store, what is the disposable criteria, what is the storage criteria, etc. So this you can see after the cargo has been discharged, unless the company or charterer says otherwise, it is suggested that cargo samples are kept for no longer than 3 months. MARPOL requires that bunker samples are to be kept for at least 12 months. So this all knowledge, if you want, you can refer to ISGOT 6. Then linseed and other oils, so they have added this also in this section. And chapter 14, special ship type. So in this, the only 2 changes have been made, that is the new sections have been added. Oil to dry bulk cargo. So if you are an oil tanker and you are converting into a dry bulk cargo, or vice versa, so they have given a guidance of what to do. For example, now if you are an oil tanker and if you are transferring to dry bulk cargo, you are getting changed, the cargo is getting changed and all the modifications of the ship. So when changing the cargo from oil to dry, the following should be done. So this is just an extract from the ISGOT 6. So you can see wash cargo tanks, include excess trunk, all that guidance has been given in ISGOT 6. This has been newly added. Similarly for converting of a dry bulk cargo to oil cargo. Next is chapter 15, that is marine terminal administration. Now pay close attention on the words from chapter 15, because this is here I start the marine related to terminal. So marine terminal administration. So with relation to administration, now there are so many changes in the chapter 15, like marine terminal information system, marine terminal particulars questionnaire, then management and self-assessment, operator competence and training, operating procedure. So this is basically related to terminal. So they have added so many sections. So like as you can see here, example of particular questionnaire, etc., information system. So whenever the terminal should have all the names of like they should have all the information ready to pass on, like birth name, what is the birth type, what are the facilities available, depth of water, then minimum static under clearance at berth, that is UKC, then length overall, other UKC criteria, then maximum displacement, maximum what is the summer dead weight of the vessels which are coming on that berth, which can come on that berth, maximum berth required. So all this information related to the terminal, they should, all this have been added, that the terminal should have all this information ready. Then all the operators should have competency and training. So, and all the inspection, maintenance and repair documentation should be done as per the particular planned maintenance system. So this was all about chapter 15. Now chapter 16 is marine terminal operations. So chapter 15 was administration, chapter 16 is operations. So here, as you can see here, risk assessment, again it has been added. Then alternative means of tanker terminal access, like personal transfer basket. So these all sections have been added in chapter 16, marine terminal operations. So first we will see the risk assessment. The risk assessment, they have added this section where they say that tanker and terminal operator should assess, determine and have clear guidance on the following. So they have given some sections which both the tanker and terminal both should have clear guidance of what to do. So based on that, they will carry out risk assessment. Next is alternative means of tanker terminal access and personal transfer by basket. So if circumstances are such that a particular and safe means of access cannot be provided directly between tanker and terminal, the only safe alternative may be to use a boat to ferry personnel to or from the access point on the offshore side of the tanker. If this means of access is used, an additional means of access and egress may be need to provided for emergencies. So whenever there is one if the means of access, if it is not possible, then they are saying that ferry can be used or small boat, so that alternative way on the other side you can go and you can access the ship, access the offshore side of the tanker, so that you can use if the berth side is not available. But you should make sure that there should be other way also for exit also for emergencies, because exit is also required, emergency exit. And then there is personal transfer by basket. So it is, they say that risk, it presents a unique safety risk. That's why it is not recommended except in specific circumstances. So they say that you have to refer OCIMF transfer of personnel by crane between vessels. This you have to refer for using this. You have to make sure that the transfer basket is authorized to carry persons and also your crane. So this is all you have to see. Then the next thing which is added is hot work in hazardous areas in terminal. So this has been added. So hot work should not be allowed in the terminal while cargo operations are being carried out on a tanker, an adjacent tanker, or in the terminal without special precautions and the agreement of the tanker terminal representative. So that is what it says. Next is chapter 17, use of tanker lifting equipment. So this is also marine terminal systems and equipment. So this is also talking about marine terminal system. So use of tanker lifting equipment. Now whenever the terminal's hose come on board our ship, so our ship crane is used most of the time. So what it says that when terminals use a tanker's equipment for lifting hoses, terminal gangways or other terminal equipments, checks should be made to ensure the equipment has an adequate SWL before its use, and so on. For hose handling crane also, it says that minimum SWL requirement based on the length of the hose to be lifted, including the contents remaining when draining the hose. So all should be discussed properly. Risk assessment should be done before carrying out the operation. This is what it says. Next is chapter 18, cargo transfer equipment. So in this they have told about inspection, testing and maintenance, and rubber hoses and composite hoses. They have added new sections. So first we will see about inspection, testing and maintenance. So they say that the inspection, testing and maintenance is all about it all depends on the manufacturer. That is what they say. Operation of a marine loading arm, either powered or unpowered, can be a dangerous task. Consequently, the marine loading arm should be in full working condition. To ensure this, 3 areas should be considered: inspection, testing and maintenance. Now this area should include a structured schedule of pre-use, weekly, monthly, 3 monthly, 6 monthly, annual and 5 yearly inspection, testing and maintenance. So they have mentioned clearly that it all should be done by the terminal, and further guidance you can refer to OCIMF Design and Construction of Marine Loading Arms and SICTO's Jetty Maintenance and Inspection Guide. So it has clearly said that this inspection should be done. Next is cargo hoses. Now you can see there are a lot of changes, a lot of updates they have done in the cargo hoses. They have added new sections on the marking section. The 2 rubber hoses and composite hoses, they have given individually what marking should be there in these hoses. For example, now see the cargo hoses, they have told about that maintenance should be, basically it all depends on the make of the hose, and they have clearly told that oil cargo hoses should conform to recognized standard specifications or as recommended by OCIMF established hose manufacturers. OCIMF or hose manufacturers. So they clearly say this for all the inspection thing. Next is marking on the rubber hoses. They clearly say that manufacturer's name or trademark, identification with data, standard specification, etc. So and so things should be there in the rubber hose marking. Marking should be there on such hoses. Similarly for composite hoses also same. Now next is chapter 18, that is cargo transfer equipment. Here you can see lot of things which have been added newly, which is like one of the example like hoses used in STS operation, electrical isolation, cargo transfer, jetty, deck containment, etc., emergency shutdown system, etc. So you can see here hoses used in ship to ship transfer, they have given some guidance. Similarly for electrical isolation, they have given added new guidance in ISGOT 6. Then emergency shutdown system also they have added some new guidance, so you can read that afterwards. Next is chapter 19, marine terminal fire protection. So they have added a new section on fireproofing. So let's say what is fireproofing. Fireproofing makes equipment fire resistant by using non-combustible or limited combustible material. So they have added this section newly. To ensure availability of equipment in the event of fire, terminal fireproofing should consider fire protection of the following: fire water. So basically it says that they should take all the fire precautions. That is what is fireproofing: electrical isolation, emergency isolation valves, then ERS for marine loading arms, electrical switch gear rooms, etc. So next is chapter 20, emergency preparedness and evacuation. So there are two things which have been added newly. One is spill response plan and second is tiered response. Tiered response is somewhat new, which I also found new. Spill response plan we already know, but they have been added in ISGOT chapter 20. Now spill response plan, they say that each terminal should have an approved spill response plan, and so at least the plan should include so and so things should be included in the plan, like name of the plan owner, document control section that identify plan holders and updates, roles and responsibilities, identification of OSRO, spill risk assessment, etc. So this is what should be included. MSDS all should be included in the spill response plan as per ISGOT 6. Next is tiered response. Now tiered response, it is for the oil spill emergency. Now tiered response is nothing but, as you can see here, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So these are like, if it is a small fire, small oil spill, so it is called as a tier 1 condition. If it is a more broader range, oil spill is covering broader range, so it is considered as a tier 2. And if it is a major oil spill, so it is considered as the condition is called as a tier 3 condition. So that is what it says about the 3 tiers. So tiered response, based on this, the teams, you have to, this is basically telling of the condition, that what condition is it. Based on that, the planning will be done to contain the oil. So next is chapter 21, that is communications. So in communication there is no changes in ISGOT 6. Next is chapter 22, that is mooring and berthing. So in this you have a new addition of a section that is called as a snapback. So they tell that some tankers, they use the snapback marking. They mark danger zones where snapback may be a hazard. So as per the new guidance, the entire mooring deck and jetty mooring area should be considered as an area of elevated risk. That is why the whole area has to be considered as a snapback area, and the proper stenciling should be done so that people are aware in the port that beyond this there is a snapback area. This was about snapback. Next is, in the same chapter we have changes. We have added sections for mooring masters and pre-berthing planning and manning at buoy berths. So for example, mooring masters, now earlier this was not there in ISGOT. They have a clear understanding which has been given in ISGOT 6, which says that a mooring master may be assigned to the terminal, or the terminal may consult with the port or pilotage authority, because mooring is sometimes it's very tough because of buoy mooring. So that's why it is recommended that a professional advice should be taken from the mooring masters who are expert in this. So that is why they have also added this section. Next is pre-berthing planning and manning at buoy berths. So here also they have given additional advice. They are clear and simple language, so you can go through it to understand better. So these are the new addition to the ISGOT 6, pre-berthing planning and management of mooring at buoys. Next is chapter 23, tanker and tanker terminal precautions for cargo operations. So here you can see a lot of things have been added new. Marine cargo inspectors, independent cargo inspection companies, then duty of care, safe working on tankers, stop work authority. Stop work authority I already covered in my part 1 video. So you can see here so many things have been added. So marine cargo inspectors, they have added, this is just an extract, you can read that from the book itself. Then this is about independent cargo inspection companies, etc. Then it is chapter 24, that is bunkering operation. Now in this chapter 24, a lot of changes have been taken place. The whole bunkering checklist has been updated. So some of the things I will tell you. Now this bunkering operation, now this is irrespective of the type of the tanker, whether it is a chemical tanker, oil tanker or a gas tanker. Now this bunkering is done in all types of ships. That is why this can be applicable to the gas tankers and chemical tankers as well. So as per the ISGOT 6 guidance, they say that the other type ships also can use this guidance. So also the ships, like the ships which are using LNG as a fuel, so for that also they have added new sections in this section, in this chapter. So let us see now preparation by the bunker supplier, including bunker vessel operator, bunkering safety management. As you can see here in the new things, now preparation by the bunker supplier, including bunker vessel operator, bunkering safety management. All this have been added newly. Then this is about the LNG fuel ships and bunkering of the LNG. Then the proper flow chart has been given for the bunkering operation. Like the first is the risk assessment, then you have to do a management plan should be there, then compatibility assessment. This is a planning phase. The next is operational phase, where you have to do the preparation, you have to inert as required and prepare for the couplings and all. Then bunkering phase is monitoring and management of LNG transfer. Then this is training, purging. All this preparations, everything is given in the flow chart. In that is ISGOT 6. The end is after bunkering operation. This is for gas as a marine fuel safety guideline. So this is all flow chart. All is given in ISGOT 6. Then the additional things like the principles of bunker checklist for residual fuel oils and distillates. This has been added newly. So it's a theory which has been added, and this is a LNG bunkering safety checklist. And similarly, as you can see here, the bunkering checklist for residual fuel oil and distillates, all have been changed. So this is a flow chart of a bunkering operation they have put in the ISGOT 6, that actions required by a receiving ship, actions required by bunker facility, then they both combine in part E, then it goes up to part K. So this is a bunker checklist flowchart, and this is a bunker checklist, the new checklist which has came. So you can see here part A. Similarly, it goes till part K as I shown you in the flowchart. So this is the last page. This is total 11 pages checklist for bunkering, and this is the last page where the receiving ship and the bunker facility, they both write their names and ranks and signature and date and time. Then next is chapter 25. This is the last chapter of ISGOT 6, and that is the ship shore safety checklist. So as we all know by reading in the internet, that the ship shore safety checklist has been updated as similar to the bunker checklist. So everything has been amended. So you can see here these sections have added new pre-arrival checks after mooring. This all theory, precautions, procedures have been added in the ISGOT 6, and this is the flow chart for the this oil tanker flow chart it is. So this is how the ship shore safety checklist, this is the actions required by for what all checks you need to do as a tanker and what all checks you need to do as a terminal. So this is a flow chart, and this is the final ISGOT checks, the ship shore safety checklist. This is the final checklist which has been amended, which has been updated in ISGOT 6th edition. And similarly, there are as you can see in the flow chart, there are part 9. So this is a maximum is a 9. So this is a part 1A. So similarly till part 9 it is there, and in the last it is the repetitive checks where you have to check all the things and you have to write the time in whatever 4 hourly intervals, and at the last you have to do the initials. The duty officer or the chief officer will do the sign, and both the person have to sign the terminal and the ship, that is a tanker. So that was it. The shipshore safety checklist is a 15-page checklist which has been came new in ISGOT 6. So thank you guys for watching. This is the end of ISGOT 6 what's new. So I hope you have gained knowledge and you have a fair idea and you have the confidence to speak up at least in the orals, and you have got fair knowledge of what all things have been changed. So thank you guys for watching, and if you liked it, please like, subscribe and comment below, and thanks for watching guys.